Hi, today I'm going to talk about what I wear in my tool belt every day as a pricework carpenter. So on my left I carry this Maguire Nicholas 10 pocket bag. I've always got my Stanley 8-meter tape measure in there. I go for the double metric one. You can get metric on an imperial on each side, but I prefer the double metric. At the back, I carry this small nail punch. It goes in one of these pockets. That one's got a hole in it actually, it needs to go in that one. Then at the front, I carry 2 or 3 different types of pencils. So I carry a standard pencil for the neat work, and then I always carry a Carpenter's pencil for marking on concrete, or if my other one breaks, I've got a backup without having to stop and sharpen it. And then I always carry a Sharpie as well. This is handy for marking things like tiles. This is another measuring tool. This is a Leica Disto laser measurer that allows me to measure distances far more quickly. I can measure a 2-bedroom flat for skirting with this in about 10 minutes. It's a really invaluable tool. You can flick out the door at the back, and that allows you to hook it on something and then measure from there to the point you want to measure to. So this never really leaves my tool pouch because it's super handy for measuring in between distances. Then I have this Milwaukee Speed Square. Sometimes I carry a small adjustable square. The problem with those is that they're sharp on the corners and they're quite long, so they stick out sometimes. My arm will get scratched by them as I'm walking. So I only ever carry a very small one of those, but I very rarely use it. So this is the one I use all the time. It's great for use with a circular saw, but also just super quick, super easy, and it slots in there really nicely as well. Then a recent addition to my tool belt has been this box, which is what you get when you buy a pack of 10 drill bits. But I've taken the drill bits that came out of it out, and I've got an assortment of small drill bits between 3mm, 4mm, 5mm, 6mm. This is super handy to have on me, and I also carry a couple of jigsaw blades, which is really handy for when you break one, you drop your jigsaw and the blade gets bent. And there's different types in here. I also have to cut metal occasionally, so I've got a couple of metal cutting bits in there and a couple of wood cutting bits. And that little plastic case means that they don't just all roll around in there and you cut yourself on the blades when you put your hand in there. It's easy to keep them all together, keep them safe, don't get lost like that. And then of course my hammer. I have a 20-ounce S-Wing straight claw. I prefer the straight claw these days. I carried a curved claw hammer for about 8 years, but this is now my go-to hammer. I use this every day and I love it. Then over on the other side I've got this red Occidental leather bag. I don't keep as much in this regularly, but every day this ends up with more in it because these 2 pockets are perfect for fixings or brackets, or I often put the super glue, the mitre bond in here. But every day I carry different bits, so I always carry a few different bit holders. These are extensions, and then that's a spade bit, which is good for countersinking, putting doors in, and they go in these good little pockets, so they don't roll around and get mixed up with all of my fixings. And then also the other 2 things that stay in this bag. There's a piece of rough sandpaper, and then I have this little box. They won't make these. They come when you buy a packet of 20 bits, and they've got an assortment of different bits, which means that I can, if I break a bit or I wear one out, I can quickly take the old one out and put a new one in without having to go back to my tool bag to refresh my impact driver or my drill. I've got too many bits in there at the moment, it won't shut properly. There we go. And then finally, one of my most used tools. This is not a Delphine knife. It's an Amazon knockoff. So I love this knife. It's a fixed blade knife, but you see how far out the blade sticks on it? And it's super easy to change the blade. You just turn that little wheel there, and it stores, you could easily store 15 blades in the pocket, in the little door back there. I like how far out the blade sticks out on it. Really helpful. And again, that's a blade change as quickly as that. And I always keep it in the plastic sheath on the outside, because when the blade sticks out that far, if you keep putting it in a leather pocket, it's just going to cut the pocket, which happened on this part of my tool bag when I used to carry a knife in this side. The belt itself, I actually made this belt. For a long time I was making leather belts and things. So it's narrow at the front so that when I bend over it doesn't, I haven't got this really wide belt at the front, and then it kind of, a bit tricky to see there. You see that it gets wider at the back, so the width of it provides a bit more support. It's all hand stitched. I did the stitching. Could do with a bit of leather treatment now. These are the tools that I carry every day. These never leave the tool belt. Like, no matter what job I'm doing, they're always in there because I use them all the time. Some tools end up in here, like a nail pry bar or a surf form or a jab saw. Lots of different tools end up in here, but they're only for occasional jobs. These are the tools that never leave the tool belt. You have to have your hammer, your tape, your pencils, your square, your knife. These are all necessities. So yeah, that's what I carry in my tool belt. I've had this set up for about 5 years like this. I used to just have this bag and then a hammer loop on the other side, but this is a bit more evenly weighted and I can carry a lot more in here. I quite often hang in my impact driver off of these, or a drill. And when I'm not working on a site, my ear defenders fit in here really nicely. When I'm working on site, my ear defenders are clipped to my helmet. So yeah, that's what I wear on my tool belt. Thank you so much for watching this video. As a carpenter, wearing a tool belt is part of being in the trade. I've been wearing a tool belt since I was about 11 years old. I started working with my dad at a very young age, so it's been part of what we do for a really long time. I've had this particular setup for about 5 years now, and I'm really happy with it. I don't think I'd change much about it at all. If you like the video, please consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel, especially at this stage. I'm going to try and continue to put more content out at least once a week, so stay tuned for more episodes and more videos in the future. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one.